Hi, it's Jennifer from Pilates Back and Joint Exercise. Today I'm going to show you the 5 most effective glute exercises to help stop your back pain. So these were actually tested against a traditional squat, lunge, etc. And surprisingly, these fundamental Pilates exercises fired the glutes more than the others. So let's get started. I'll show you these in the order, kind of in a progressive order of effectiveness to more challenge. So we're going to start with the traditional Pilates clam. So you do want to have a stretch band or a rope that you can tie around, or you can just use your hand for tension. So assume your clam position, which means the knees are folded and they're stacked. Now my feet are going to be lined up with the back of me, so basically lined with the back of my bottom. I'm going to make sure the hips are stacked and the waist is long. And we're going to do these for just one set on each side for a minute. But I would prefer that you do 3 sets of them to make them most effective. So I'm just going to open the legs into the clamshell position and hold for a minute. And then as I'm holding, I just want to make sure I feel a little bit of tension in the glutes and the lateral hip and thigh, the abductors. My heels stay together, my waist stays long, and then I want to have good neck, hip, shoulder alignment. So I want to look straight ahead, actually. And just take long, deep breaths. Maybe you notice a little pulling from hip to hip as you do this. And again, I've got a little bit of tension here. And so if you don't have the stretch band, sometimes for my clients, I just put a hand on top of the upper thigh, and they just open the leg into that tension of my hand there. So from here, before I turn to the other side, I'm just going to do the traditional the leg lift or the leg pull. So with straight legs lined up again, the hips are stacked, so I want to lengthen the top leg a little longer than the bottom. I'm going to raise the top leg into the tension of the band again, or into your hand or whatever you're using as your tension. And then you'd hold that for a minute. And again, 3 sets of these will make for more effectiveness and for stronger glutes. And so if you have strong glutes, it takes pressure off your low back. If you're running or walking or on your feet a lot, it can also help with plantar fasciitis in the feet if you have chronic or even acute bouts of that. And so we're holding for a minute, and I'm just kind of guesstimating. Maybe you can look at a clock when you're doing it. And so now I'm going to flip over and we'll do the other side. So same thing. Just keep that tension there. Line your hips up. Again, my feet are lined up with the back of my body. And then I'll just open into the clamshell. And hold that for a minute. And lengthen the rest of the torso. Maybe you want a pillow here. Get my hand in the wrong spot there. And good. So just so you get the gist of these. So we're going to lengthen both legs, long through the waist, and then again the top leg comes up. And I want to keep the knee parallel with the floor as well as the foot. So you can see the arch of my foot, my toes are pointed ahead. And then the knee is pointed straight ahead as well, and straight over the bottom leg. Okay, so from here, I'm going to go into the bridge. So third in effectiveness, and now we're progressing a little more as well. So for the bridge, just a traditional Pilates bridge, I'm going to press up, and again, I'm going to press out into the band. So it doesn't really change the position of my feet. I've still got the weight equally in both feet as I'm pressing up. So again, I'd recommend 3 minutes of these 1-minute increments, 3 sets of 1 minute. And just kind of noticing the neck should be long, the weight is into the shoulder blades, the space between the shoulder blades and the upper back, and evenly distributed in the feet. And then you feel those lateral hips, abductors, and then of course the glutes are tight as well. So from here I could progress into a one leg bridge. So now I'm balancing each side well. So again, fold, and you can start with 30 seconds on the one leg. And good. Now I'm going to take the band away and come into a quadruped position. So on all fours. And you want to assume a neutral position. My hands are right under the shoulders, knees under the hips. I want to find neutral in the spine. I'll just turn this way a little so you can see better. So I'm going to bring the left thigh just beyond the bottom leg, so about 10 degrees. And then this is called the hydrant. So I'm going to raise the leg just about 20 or 30 degrees. And again, you'll notice it'll stop at some point, and then you'll feel the glutes there as well. And so come into a position on both sides, back about 10-20 degrees, and then just parallel to the floor, keeping the spine neutral. So it's important the hips stay neutral or parallel with the floor when you do these. And that's called the hydrant, like a dog, right? Okay, and then the last one, and this is actually the most advanced, would be a side plank. So what I want to do is line the knees and the elbow up about 30 degrees forward of the hips. So they're actually in the same line here. There's an imaginary line here. And you could do this in a full length plank, but I think the bent knee one is just as effective. So first I'm going to lengthen my torso. I'm going to think of reaching the head and then pressing the hips forward of that imaginary line so the hips line up with the knees and the elbow. And you can take the top arm and then just notice your head position. Beware of it being in the same line as the rest of the body. Nice long plank. Inhale, and then exhale. I'm just going to bring the hips behind the line, and then I'll try on the other side. So again, lining your heels up with the back of you, knees and elbow just forward of the hip, and then lengthen and press the hips forward, and then you can take the top arm. And you should have a nice plank or line from the knees, hips, shoulders, and then out the crown of the head. And just breathe deeply into the back and exhale out of the low belly. So I like to say into the back, out of the front as you breathe. And again, those are in progressive order of difficulty. So start with the first 3, and then you can progress to the harder ones. Thanks for joining me.